Hey guys, today I'm super excited. Kenny, my husband, is going to join us for the podcast, and we'll be discussing working with your spouse, the pros and cons. You may want to stay tuned for this one. Hi y'all, I'm Rhonda from RK3 Designs, and I am so excited to welcome you guys to the Pro Artisan Podcast. This is a space for artisan professionals to discuss matters of both business and the heart. Hey guys, this is Rhonda with RK3 Designs.
I'm Paul Metzger with Metzger Media.
And today we have a special guest. It's my significant other, Kenny Draculis.
The one and only.
Today we're going to be focusing on what it's like to work with your spouse.
Yes.
The podcast should hopefully give a very clear and accurate picture as to what that entails.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yes. So you say that so lovingly.
It is. It's all love.
That's it. Okay. Well, it's been a journey. It is a daily journey. Kenny and I have always worked pretty good together. I mean, whether we're building fence or building a barn or remodeling a house.
On your terms?
That's exactly right. I was just going to say it works best on my terms. And that's not true. That's not true. I listen to you when I don't know what I'm talking about, like building fence or building a barn. I'm your gopher.
Yeah.
I'm your best gopher.
Mm-hmm. You are.
I am. So this is going to be a long podcast.
Or a really short podcast.
Yeah.
Did Kenny want to work with you originally? How did that first come together?
With RK3 Designs?
Sure.
Well, I can see by the corner of my eye he's shaking his head. I think he didn't know anything about it. I mean, I was painting and I was faux finishing, and he had no idea.
I am not a painter.
No. Oh,
Zero painting skills.
Absolutely. I can vouch. Yes.
Yeah.
And some of our biggest fights have been when
me painting.
Yes, him painting or lack of. Oh my gosh. But he wasn't in it. I mean, I didn't start it to have him involved. But no, he wasn't actively involved when I first started. But he was up behind me 100%. You know, he would give me his feedback.
Well, yeah, definitely. I would always give her my 2 cents, even if it wasn't good or not. But
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was always behind her. She was. I mean, she's an artist, as you know, and there's nothing that you can take that away from her. So, you know, I was always behind her, what she wanted to do. If she wanted to paint cabinets, if she wanted to start this epoxy business, I was always, you got this. Just
literally. But I know back when we had other businesses, we had a Christmas lighting business, and when he came home and told me that, oh, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna hang Christmas lights. Have you lost your mind? And I'm telling you what, that was one of the most successful businesses. We had it for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
And that I didn't know anything about that. But I knew that I had to be the backbone as far as the paperwork and stuff like that, and the financing part of it, as far as keeping the money and, whatever, charging the people and stuff. And we worked really well. We've developed a system, and we worked really well together. I didn't work with the customers very well. He was excellent with them. I was behind the scenes, and I did, the paperwork part. So that was way back then. And then we had the restaurant, and the restaurant was a little bit more of me kind of starting it. And then he was there, and then, gosh, he just took over the whole kitchen. And he took over that aspect of it. So we worked really well there, even though that was the most stressful thing I think we had ever done together. We had a concrete business, a curbing business that we did. And again, that was him mostly. I was kind of in the background. And the whole time he was supporting us with our rodeoing, because at that time we were rodeoing quite a bit. And then when I had started having my surgeries again on my leg, that's where I was kind of knocked out in the RK3 Designs came in, and then that's where he jumped on and supported me more and more. And I think a lot of time we joke that he built me this place out here so I'd get out of the house.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, we've always worked in some capacity together, building fence, building barns, adding on to the house, whatever, I can't always say that it's been PG rated, but it's, we work good together. We have visions together, which is good.
Well, I guess what you could say is we each have our lane, right? Kind of like Mike told us, you got your lane, I got mine. And if we can stay on that lane, it's going to be,
Catherine,
it's a lot easier.
Yeah, Catherine Quist did sit me down because I asked her, how in the heck do you do this? I was just really, at this point, our business was, I needed him a lot. And I watched how Mike and Catherine worked, and I was like, man. And she told me, she said, you got to have your lanes. You got to have, you each have your set of priorities. And those priorities will cross ever so often, but you got to know your lane. And when that person gets out of their lane and tries to get into someone else's lane, that's when you have conflict. So, and we've practiced that pretty well.
Yeah.
I drive in the median a lot. But
I guess follow-up question is, the importance of staying in your lane. How do y'all kind of find the roles that you each play? Again, especially when starting the business. Obviously, once you've been in business for a while, you kind of establish those things naturally. Mm-hmm. But how did y'all kind of start off delegating and finding those roles and lanes for y'all?
Well, that's real easy. I'll have to say, Rhonda can't measure, so she doesn't build anything. So all she does is paint. So that's the easy part. I can build stuff, and so that's kind of how I build it. She paints it or epoxies it, and it's done.
Yeah. Well, and I do, and I see where the question. I've really noticed with our pro classes that when a couple comes in, whether it's a spouse, whether it's two friends, whether it's a father-son, daughter, whatever. And we've had all of those. We've had a father with two daughters come in, and they're killing it out in Arizona. So I always notice someone walks in with the vision. They're kind of the alpha person. Whether they know they're the alpha person or not, they do stick out. They're the ones that kind of have the vision. And then there's always a supporting actor. That one that says, I think we can do this, and she has this vision or he has this vision. And they're a supportive role, but they also, and like with Kenny and I, we know what we're good at, and we know what's not in our wheelhouse. And he's right. I don't build stuff. The biggest power tool I use is a sander, but he's fantastic at that. I am the creative side. I'm the one that thinks about maybe what that would look like with this certain finish on it. And he doesn't visualize like I do. And then he doesn't take care of the financial part of it, the advertising and stuff like that. That's not his wheelhouse, and he doesn't like that. And I don't necessarily like that, but that's the part that I have to do. So we kind of know we play off each other's strengths.
Yeah, for sure.
Good job, babe.
Insightful. Don't leave them hanging. Did y'all have any fears about working together? And if so, how did y'all work through that from the beginning, or if there's anything that's kind of ongoing that pops up?
I don't think nothing's been, I've never been scared at.
He's never.
When we started something, if we put our mind to it, the way I think about it is if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And, Rhonda's probably told you before, we're not scared of trying anything and doing it, because how do you know? If you don't ever try it, you're never going to know if you can do it.
For sure.
So you fail, and then you do it again until you get what you want. So I think that's a big thing with us, that if you talk to anybody that knows us, that's one of the things that they'll tell you right away, is that we're not scared to try anything. So
Yeah.
Did you ever have concerns though that it might affect your relationship or change the dynamic?
No, not really, because I mean, we're friends first. We're married, but we're friends. And so we discuss a lot of our businesses. Of course, I get scared financially. What? Well, you want to buy what? And it's going to cost what? And so I've got a little bit of that anal retentive characteristic in me, but neither one of us are really scared to at least talk it out. We can always change it, but we do have a good relationship that we can talk it out and kind of see where we want it to go.
We talked about how y'all really try to utilize each other's strengths in order to kind of make the most of your working relationship together. What would be some of the challenges that y'all have faced or overcome while working together?
I would say the different personalities are going to be the biggest.
I agree.
Of somebody's trying to do, because the way I look at things and the way Rhonda looks at things are two complete different outlooks.
And that's not true all the time.
No.
Like our goals, we may have different ways of getting there. Or I tell you what we compliment each other on is a lot of times I'll say, most of the time I'll say, babe, look, let's do this and let's build this. And I want it to look like this. And I don't have a clue how to get it to look like that, but he is able to take my vision and he's able to make it come to life, I guess, if that it's not
because I understand
dramatic.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
basically what it is.
Yeah, he gets me.
Yeah.
And so we kind of compliment each other that way. But I would say some of our fears were, he's fearless. I mean, he really is, almost to a fault. And truth hurts. And me,
you're always negative Nancy sometimes.
I am not. That you just blew my whole cover. People think I'm positive all the time.
Yeah, you're never positive Paul. You're always negative Nancy. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yes, I'm not negative.
What is
worry.
it?
I think the word is I'm not negative. I'm just a realist. That's what I've heard over the years.
I'm a realist. I really have to
have to think about it. I don't.
I know. I have to think about, okay, how is this vision gonna how is it gonna come to life? I've got to figure out you
just have to have the step-by-step process.
Yes.
Is what you have to have.
Yeah.
And I can just go
by the seat of your pants.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just whips out that credit card and says, here, I want this.
Just going and winging it.
Yeah.
Right.
Winging it is that's always the best way for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a plan, so to say, on paper, step by step by step.
But as our business has gotten to the point where we are making some very large financial decisions, we do sit down and we are on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so
the beginning, though, it's where you don't have anything in stone. That's where it's a little different.
Yeah. But once we decided that we wanted to make RK3 Designs a true viable business, we did sit down and we made some financial decisions together, because my goal from the very beginning was that this business would not pull from our personal finances. And I wanted it to be self-sufficient, and it has been. And we've been blessed to be able to, like this shop. We literally built this shop together with Kendra and Connie and Galen, my son-in-law, and
a few friends.
And we literally put this building up by ourselves. And that was a vision that we all shared, and we had some cussing and discussing in between it, but it all came together.
This might be kind of a loaded question. Don't worry, it's not too personal about y'all. Are there ever times where you see a husband and wife come into your class and you get to know them both a little bit, and then you're just like, maybe y'all two don't work the best together. Are there people who this isn't for? It seems like it's something that y'all do really well.
Mm-hmm.
And has really plays along with both your natural tendencies. Y'all figure out how to align yourselves and your strengths and weaknesses. Seems like y'all really learn how to yield to each other in the right times.
Right.
What about people who are like too hard-headed, stubborn people, or that they're not willing to communicate well?
Well,
I think they communicate well. It's just they over communicate to each other, right? So you got like two Rhondas together, and they're just button heads. Where I think where I compliment her is, I know when to say, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll just do whatever
You're
you
right,
want,
honey.
Yeah, and it's just totally. I think you're gonna have a give and take, and she does the same thing with me. Is she understands where, I guess that's where your lane is, right? And I think if you can understand what your lane is and what you're good at, and you let the other person do their strengths and you take your strengths and you put them together, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is that because when you're coming here, you're going to know right away, can you build stuff, or are you a good artist, or do you have the knack to see the colors that come together? Because I can have an idea of what something might want to look like, but I don't have the color palette, I guess you could say, to say these two colors would really go. Or
No, he does not have that gift. I promise you.
You see what I'm saying? So,
but
I know it looks good
sometimes.
until the end, but I don't know how to get it there to make it look where where Rhonda, she can make that. She could say, oh, well, these two colors go together.
Okay, you're
and so
totally getting off the subject.
No, it's totally on. Get in your damn lane, woman.
See? Okay, baby.
You want me to talk? I'm talking. And
Okay.
if you want me to shut up, then I'll just shut up. But then...
You're in the silent lane.
Right. So, yeah. So that's why you always see me behind the scenes. Or you don't see me. That's why I keep to myself. Just to let Rhonda talk.
Oh,
She
my
likes to talk.
God. Okay. Well, no, that's not true. But you're right, babe. See? Okay, so the original question I was thinking was, do we have people come in here that we don't think can work together?
Right.
And I think my mind goes to one couple that couldn't work together. I don't think, because it wasn't because one was better than the other or one didn't stay in one lane. It was both of them refused to bend. Period. But that you could take these business ideas and apply it to your life, your marriage. Because I think you have to have the same balance in your relationship as you do in your business. Just like in your marriage. If that one couple, I think they fought about everything. I think epoxy was just one more thing they got to fight with. But yeah, if I see people like that, I just ask them, hey, what are your strengths? What do you really see out of this business? Where do you see this vision coming? And a lot of times they have the same goals. It's just they have a complete different way of getting there.
So do you think it's really something that they can work through and they can kind of learn how to work together?
Sure.
If they really have that desire to do this?
Absolutely.
They can step back and say, hey, like, we got to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
But who's going to tell them you got to stand back and you got to take
you
forward?
got to let them duke it
Right.
out. I mean, at some point that, you may need a marriage counselor and a business guidance person. But I guarantee you, whatever struggles they're having in their business, I bet you anything that same couple's having issues in their marriage or their relationship. The same thing, because it's got to be give and take both ways.
Yeah.
And because really we're married to this business at this point, because it has grown to where, like I said again, it's got a life of its own, and we both are proud of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we and it was my business to start with, but now it's our business, and so I think we both are passionate about it, so we're willing to work through it, work through the issues. So.
Awesome. I've heard y'all talk a lot about staying in your lane. What does that typically look like? And what has that meant to you guys as you've worked together over these years?
Well, it has looked like a head-on collision a few times. But to me, it means that Kenny has things that he is fantastic at, and I don't know a blooming thing about. And I don't really care to learn that. I mean, I do. I technically know how to build a countertop. I do. And I can answer questions when people call, but I don't build them. He technically knows how to pour all these tops and these finishes and how to do it, but he technically doesn't do that because that's not his wheelhouse. And that's not what he enjoys, really. And I don't enjoy building. I don't enjoy building things. So, but we each know how to do the other's job. We just don't do it.
I could do both, though, if you really needed me to do that.
Well, I could build a countertop if I absolutely had to.
And that seems to be a good amount of crossover.
Yeah.
In case someone gets sick or has to have a day off, or some of those things where you absolutely could step in if you had to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fighting uphill. It may not be something that you're naturally as gifted at or have the experience to crank out.
He's right. I don't measure. I'm the world's worst. No, I'm terrible. But also, and so I know when he's out there building things, just he's got that. That's not me. But I also know when I'm in here pouring and I'm really focused on something, he can come in here and sometimes he messes up my mojo. And it's not good when that happens. So
true that.
That's true that. And so he knows that it is time for him to leave the scene of the crime or there will be a crime. And so we kind of know. We know when to back off.
Yeah.
And that just comes with knowing each other and
time, yeah.
Time.
And it seems to come down to respect. You respect the fact that your spouse has knowledge in that area. You respect the fact that you may think something's off about it, but that their experience and their knowledge, exceeds yours, and that, hey, just hands off, back up, let them.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't have an opinion, and
we all have them.
Yeah. And
Everyone's got an opinion. Some stink more than others.
Yes, that's right. But I do value his opinion. I honestly do. I may not always like it, but I value it. And eventually I will succumb to go, okay, and listen to it. I know you value my opinion.
All the time.
And then he'll just do what he wants to do anyway.
And are there times where the opinion of your spouse is solicited and you're wanting them to give an opinion? Or is it more effective when they're just like, hey, here's my opinion? And how does that dynamic work for y'all?
That usually doesn't work very well.
I would just say it'd have to depend on the day. What day she wakes up. If she wakes up on the good side of the bed, then that's a good day.
That is so not true. That is so, you're going to get in so much trouble when this is over with. That is so not true. I've gotten better. Okay, let's just say I'm very headstrong.
Yes,
I am
exactly.
very headstrong.
But do you agree with me on that?
No, I can get up on either side of the bed and be just as happy. Honestly, I have to say that Kenny is more of a giver, I guess, when it comes to this business than I am. And I'm not embarrassed to say that because I am headstrong and I've gotten better. Right?
Yeah, you're getting there.
Do I have an end goal in sight?
Nah, I don't know. I think it's very far away, but I mean, you're working at it.
But I think also that drive that I have fuels a lot of
what we do. Yeah.
And all joking aside, really, you have to have some. I honestly believe opposites attract, because if we were both me. That would not be good. No. Because we have all these visions, but it would never get done. My thing is I have these visions and I have a sight, kind of a goal where I want it to go. But Kenny's kind of the engine that makes it run. And I mean, and I couldn't. The RK3 Designs would not be here. It would just be R.
R.
Yeah,
R.
So, no, he's definitely what's the backbone of this, and I say that with all sincerity.
I do support her, and I've always supported her from day one. So some people don't get that, and it's kind of sad because there's a lot of talented people, and they need that. They need that to be successful. And I think I totally am fine with being the person behind the scenes and supporting her, and it makes me so happy to see her grow this business, and
us grow this business.
No, but I mean, it's really you and Paul, y'all have done it. I haven't done. I just build the countertops and just get you stuff, just the tools, but y'all have done it, and y'all should be proud of yourselves for doing what you've done. And
it's gonna make me get a tear.
But no, for real though, it's one of those things where if I wasn't there, or if those people don't have that person there to say, man, you go do this, and I'll support you, and I'll give you 100% of my confidence in you.
You've always been that with me. You've always been my cheerleader.
Yeah.
Whether I was rodeoing or whatever. And Kendra rodeoing and Connie showing, and you were always kind of not in the background because you were but you always did things.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying that I don't have to be the person to be out there on, in front of everybody. Do I like it? Oh yeah, I love meeting the people. I love the classes that we do. And just, for those people that come, it's just one of those things where I truly, truly enjoy it. And I'm so thankful that they come to listen to what we have to say. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like this thing now, right? I mean, who's really going to listen to it? Because I'm on here. Who knows, right? But if you're listening, I appreciate it, and I thank you with all my heart. For you to take time out of your day to listen to us, it means a lot. And I think that's one of the things where it's all about the family. That's our why, and we make our family bigger and bigger each class that we do.
That is true,
and that's our why. That's why I love doing this. Is the people that we meet, the people that we get to just bounce ideas off, and it's just amazing where that has gone. And
our whys have changed, right? When we first started this we never in a million years would have thought that we've built it to a point where we don't necessarily look at the money, we look at the people,
right?
We don't sit down at the end of the day and go, we made this much money, and that was awesome. And we sit down and say, oh my gosh, can you believe those two girls that we just met from the East Coast? Or
right.
Can you believe that guy does, he does this on the side, and look how talented he is. And
right.
I mean, we discuss people. I mean, we honestly, that's what we discuss, and that's become our big why, is because we
want to improve lives.
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, it's a bittersweet. When Saturday evening comes, it is a
right.
bittersweet, because
I don't want them to leave.
I know. I've teared up many a times when some of our students, I'm tearing up now, when some of our students, when they leave, and you're like, man, I feel like I've known them for 100 years and they're leaving, and I could really have fun with that person. But, so I don't know how we got off on that subject, but our, I think our whys are really aligned together, even though we get to our whys two different ways.
Yeah.
So
it's really great to see that y'all have such a unified vision for the why, and that your different perspectives and your different strengths play a role in that in very different ways. It's just really cool to see, that dynamic, of y'all two together.
And it's cool for us. I mean, I Because I'm telling you, I mean, just like any other married couple that's been married for 23 years.
I was going to wonder if you were going to get it right.
We've had our ups and downs, and if anybody has been together and they say they don't fight, my
call
thing
bullshit
to them,
on that one.
Well, I say that they don't communicate then.
Yeah.
And I don't mean fist fighting, and I don't mean hollering and screaming and disrespecting each other. I'm talking about, just difference of opinions. But
there's always, when there's two people or more, there's always going to be different opinions.
Absolutely.
And that's really what I see fights coming down to.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of if it's a healthy
Right.
fight, a healthy way of communicating those two differences.
And you learn that, and you learn how to, I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but you learn how to fight, and you learn when to give and when to take, and you learn not to, I mean, I used to fight ugly. I did. I would fight, and I wanted to, by God, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you twice as bad. But as that respect grows and your friendship grows, that relationship grows, then you start thinking about things so differently. And I mean, I walk out sometimes I walk out here and I think, oh my gosh, I just cannot believe that I'm in a position working in our own business with my best friend, and we get to do this. This is just, he always says he has to go to work to get away from work.
Exactly. I do. I have to go to work to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know, I do have a full-time job, and this is not my full-time job. So yeah. So it's
But his full-time job is
Rhonda. That's my full-time job. I have to get away from her to rest.
Yeah. No, his full-time job is he's very flexible. He's able to have flexible time, but
Well, I'm really glad we touched in on kind of like how your relationship progressed over the course of your marriage. I think that plays a big role, in the fact that you have been married 23 years. It doesn't matter if it's 2, 5, 15, 23, 50.
right.
It doesn't matter how long it is if you haven't put in the time and effort to continue to develop that relationship.
Absolutely.
And I think it really shows that y'all have put an emphasis on not just learning each other, but putting each other's needs first. Putting aside your pride, putting aside your need to be right all the time. Not that we're perfect ever, but
that's work in progress.
Yeah, but it seems like y'all really put an emphasis on that communication and that unity when it comes to things that really matter.
Right.
Yeah. When the rubber meets the road, he's got my back, no doubt, and I have his back, no doubt. And we know that 100%, no doubt in our mind that we have each other's back. And no matter what happens, if we had to close these doors tomorrow, we would be okay. And because
on to the next one.
Well, exactly. But we do know down in our souls, in the very deepness of our hearts, that we're in this together. Whether it's RK3 Designs and I'm standing in front of the camera,
right,
or not, we're in this 100% together. And I mean, and I know two girls that are building this business together, and they are in Nebraska, and they're doing a great job. Of course, they each have spouses, but they have to learn to work together, and they're doing a great job because one of those individuals has a skill set that the other one may not have as well. And they're making it work. But no matter who you are, whether it's your spouse you're trying to build a business with, whether it's your best friend you're trying to or your parent or anything, to go back, to the very basics of it, you have to give and take. You have to be willing to give and take. If not, then why have a partner? So
this kind of touches back in on that, but I want to kind of elaborate a little more.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to somebody to kind of help them get to that place where, they're able to work well together and again, communicate better and put aside those differences?
Put your big girl panties on and decide that you are put your drawers on, whatever you're going to call it. And then just make a decision. You both have to make a conscious decision that it's going to work. And what I would suggest is both sit down and talk about it. Just say, hey, what do you want to get out of this business? And what do you think my best skill sets are? These are what I think my best skill sets are. And then have the other person do the same thing. And you may find when you write all that down that, oh man, I really am not good at that, but you obviously are. So why don't you take that on? And it all comes down to communication, period. Communication. You got to communicate, and you got to have some type of goal that's going towards the same goal, or why would you want to work together, So, that's my thought.
Sounds good.
I was going to ask what your thoughts were, Kenny, so thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I guess, what is your favorite part about working together?
My favorite part about working with Kenny is, I guess...
I'm going to go first.
Okay. Go first.
Okay. So I think for me, I think it's the end product. So we finish the kitchen. We can just sit back and we admire it. Everybody's happy. It's done. It's just like a relief off my shoulders that it's installed. I take a lot of pride on when that's done. I feel that we did it because we did it. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just her. So I think all in all, for me, I think that's where
the end product
is where I see the most for me, because it. And then the other thing too is, like on teaching days, when she does a class, I think I take a big pride when you can show them little tricks and hints, and then the light bulb goes off, and then it like they get it, right? And to me, that's just the best feeling when
seeing that happen.
Yes.
Yeah. What I like, I guess mine is go back to, we're doing it together. And when I get excited about something, knowing that he's going to come home and I get to tell him about it, or I guess every little success that we have, it's neat to be able to share it. I get excited about it. I get excited about a lot of stuff, but yeah, being able to share when we have accomplishments, or when someone will call me and say, "Oh wow, look what we did," and I get to share that with Kenny. I'm like, "Wow, look at so and so. Look what they're doing. They're killing it." It's like a kid. I'm so proud of them because it's like one of our kids.
Proud mom moment.
Yeah. So that's a cool feeling.
Well, would you recommend it? Working with your spouse?
Absolutely, I would recommend it. I would. But you gotta.
It's not all smooth, right?
No.
It's like barbed wire. You go smooth, and then whack, you get stuck. And then, it'll go smooth, and then bam, it gets you again. But, that's the whole thing.
I've just been compared to a piece of barbed wire.
Yeah, right?
No, I think he was saying he's the prick.
I'm the prick.
That's
Yeah. Hack.
my halo is made out of barbed
Yeah,
wire.
right.
How would you suggest people get past those rough patches? How do they stay focused and keep working towards that smooth section?
Be humble.
Oh yeah.
Be real humble.
And be willing to say you're sorry.
My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think I do that a lot. I really got to tell myself that it's really not about me, trying to support, and in the same way where we talked about earlier, supporting, it's very humbling, right? I'm trying to serve her and be supportive, and that's kind of how I take that that aspect of it. I just try to focus on, it's just one of those where if you can do that, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, or who's right or who's wrong.
Oh, did you hear that, America? It doesn't matter. Kenny Draculis.
Yeah. Do you take that advice, and then we'll see how that works out? Yeah.
I do agree with you 100%, and it is humbling. I know when you have to eat crow sometimes, and I mean, it is kind of a cliche. As you get older and you grow in your relationship, you realize that some things are just not worth fighting about. You know, something you pick your battles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And there that respect factor comes in, but
And just be willing to say that you were wrong.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because that's the biggest thing, you know. If Rhonda never says that she's wrong, then it's you know, it ain't right.
I say I'm wrong all the time. Just so y'all know, I'm wrong all the time.
Well, any final thoughts about working with your spouse?
Just do it. Don't be scared. Just do it. And even if like your goal is to bring, let's say you're doing this business to replace an income, and that's great. That's awesome. I would say both of y'all be in on a goal. If you're really working for something like that, you know, my goal when I first started this was to give me something to do because of my leg injury, and Kenny was 100% behind that. Then as it grew, you know, we obviously just grew together kind of where we wanted it to see, even though we both have our own little ideas of where it can go. I would say just make sure that in the big picture, you're going in the same direction.
Yeah, and then don't look at the whole big picture. Maybe just take little bites of the little picture, right?
I just told him to look at the whole picture, and you're telling him not to look at the whole picture.
Well, I'm just saying, because it's not gonna. If you try to do everything all at once together, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Well, that's where the lanes come in.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to do little steps, right? Just a little step at a time. Because if you're thinking you're gonna run a marathon, you have to do it one step at a time.
Right.
Not I'm running the marathon and that's it. So that's my thought, not yours. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So this is where we're talking about.
I got out of my lane.
Exactly.
I guess. Okay.
You're not on the same page.
And it sounds like you're like the distinction that you're making, Kenny, is really trying to learn to walk before you run. You know, really trying to figure out what are the needs of the business and the partnership between you two at this moment, so you can tackle that and be successful and move forward from that, and then continue to compound on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, it's a big thing when you're thinking about doing this whole aspect of this whole epoxy. And I think if you can just take a step at a time, it's just going to get you there, because that's what you got to do. It's just one of those things where you just a little at a time. And
But we still have big goals. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
But the goals, you're not going to have your goal right away. You're going to have to work towards them. And so we work towards our goals, and we take one step at a time. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
You're not going to just jump and be there and be ta-da. It's there, right?
I want it that way, though.
I know you want it that way, but it's not real.
Coming up next week, we talk about patience.
Patience.
No, we don't.
And tell her to take it easy.
Oh, my God. Shut the hell up. Don't tell me take it easy. That pisses me off.
Pedal to the metal, baby.
No. He tells me take it easy, and that's like push my button. That's a fighting word.
Uh-huh. See? You got to know your spouse.
Know which buttons to push.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks, Kenny, for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Bye. Hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast and found value in it. Leave us some comments. We love to hear your feedback. We love to hear your questions, maybe future podcast ideas and topics. You can find us on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all of the podcast formats that are out there.